Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old farm.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 61 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I'm your host, Magnificent Stan. Today is Wednesday, special Wednesday episode, December 4th, 2024. And we are in the midst of a pretty shitty run with Chicago sports. The White Sox are the worst team in the history of the game. The Bulls can't get their asses in gear. The Bears are almost as big a shit show as the White Sox. The Cubs don't know what the fuck they're doing. Just raw. The Hawks are terrible. So why not kick you guys while you're down? And now we're going to talk about the worst coaches in the history of Chicago sports. We have a couple of return guests today. Joining me, our buddy Sean Jankowski. How you doing, Sean?
Good. How are you guys? Great to be here.
Excellent. Always great to have you. Also joining us, Sadistic Penguin contributor, host of Grateful Ducks, our boy Brewhand Luke. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. All's good in the hood. Good to be back and ready to do another draft.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, with what's going on with Chicago sports, it's just this is the easy topic. You know, I casually mentioned it on our show Twitter, and I meant it when I said it. And I had a couple people step up, and then I had a couple other people. You know, so it all pieced together. So, as you can see by the board, for those of you watching on YouTube, we do have categories. We're just going by teams, basically: Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, and then we have a wild card. So you can do Hawks, you can do college, you could do Chicago Sting, Chicago Cardinals, the Rush, the Wolves, whatever the hell you want.
The Enforcers.
Yeah, the Enforcers. What was the one?
Enforcers.
Was that the one? Was that the one Steve McMichael owned?
No, Vince owned it, but
okay.
That was the XFL.
That was the XFL. But they actually used Brock Lesnar's music as their fight song before Brock Lesnar was a thing.
Brock Lesnar. Hey, former professional football player, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. Sean, I'm gonna just get it over to you, man. You have the first pick. You won the lottery, so let's roll.
I did. As this team also won in 2008, won the draft lottery. The Chicago Bulls are my first selection, and this coach was a straight from college to the Bulls organization. He is from my Iowa State Cyclones. I am choosing Tim Floyd as my first selection. From 1998 to 2001, Tim Floyd compiled a great record of 49 up, 190 down. Good for a 205 winning percentage.
It's the worst winning percentage in the history of the team.
Yes.
Outside of like Pete Myers coached one game, like Bill Barry coached a game, but
it was Tim Floyd.
Yep.
I thought, as an Iowa State guy, it sucked, but I was like, oh, he's going to my favorite team. And then, see, I'm not.
I was a little on edge on that one too. I do admit when you.
I wouldn't do that to my guy Fred, but then the Bulls drafted Market Pfizer, and then we all know how that went. But Tim Floyd,
after they already drafted a fucking power forward that was all-star caliber.
Elton Brand, that was rookie of the year.
Right. They get basically a 6'7" center in Marcus Pfizer.
Yeah, that unfortunately got hurt. Too many knee injuries.
Yeah.
But after the dynasty, the Bulls were in hell, literally. From
Sam, I should have had you on this one,
it's
man.
not that Iowa State player.
It's the different Pfizer. There's no P.
Oh, now I'm getting. Sorry, I thought he was going with Royce White. That's another topic for another show. But and then the strike. Remember, you had the strike shortened season of '99 as well, 50 games. But Tim Floyd just couldn't cut it with the Bulls, and they had nobody to build around besides.
Right.
You had Elton Brand, Was that? And
But they
that
didn't have
wasn't
Brand
Baby
the
Bulls
first
yet.
year. They didn't have
Brandon
Brand the
Artest.
first year. Yeah.
Brandon Artest.
Well,
I think Brad Miller was on that team.
But
maybe?
the first year Floyd was there, all they had was basically Dickie Simpkins and
not great.
and part of Tony Kukoc. Like that's that first year. You kind of feel bad for Tim Floyd that first year after Phil Jackson, after Michael Scotty left, Dennis left, Luke left. They
Ron
all left.
Harper.
Yeah. Right. They all fucking left. And what did he have? You know, Dickie Simpkins was like the go-to that year. That was 99. That team was fucking miserable.
Was he still head coach when they drafted Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry out of high school?
No,
okay.
That was
that
2?
So that might have been Bill Cartwright.
I want to say that was Cartwright. Yeah,
that was Cartwright. Yeah,
because they had
Cartwright.
You had John Starks on that team. People forget John Starks was a Bull.
Starks was there for like a week though, man. Like he.
I know, but still, he played in a Bulls.
It was just a match. It was just that fucking kill. I was a huge Bulls fan. I'm not anymore. It's been too miserable over the last 25 years to really, just disappointment.
I've tuned out. I've completely.
But I was the guy that watched every game through all those fucking shit show years.
I did too. That was a young Sean.
When they traded Tony Kukoc, who was my favorite player pretty much at that point of all time, when they traded him for John Starks, that was a I need to play Everybody Hurts and cry in the shower moment there. But and I was at that point I'm like 18, 19 years old, so I was starting to learn like, okay, Chicago sports actually does suck after all these years of success.
Why did my dad give me this as a fandom?
Right.
So that was my first selection.
Sorry, Sam. I know they've made the play in the last couple of years.
That's not the damn tournament to win the title.
It's fucking great. How'd they do in the cup? That's the stupidest shit I've ever.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the
mid-season.
NBA.
Quit it with your Euro trash stuff, guys. We don't need soccer in our basketball. Okay. That was a very meatball moment.
That was a meatball. Yeah.
Should call that the.
I don't know what
the moment of the day.
I don't know what the NBA currently is.
It's
rough.
Viewership is declining, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. There's a clip the other day.
It's going to go through ups and downs. I think.
Yeah.
I think when Wembanyama is ready to really, really, really start dominating, the league is going to pick back up. That's what they need.
I agree.
They picked back up when Curry and those guys are getting old now.
LeBron's not as Father Time maybe catching up with LeBron finally.
Finally.
After he broke my heart
the
too many
GOAT,
times.
you mean? I'm so sick of that debate.
I hate that debate.
I'm okay if you feel like LeBron is the best player ever, though. If you have that opinion, I'm fine.
I don't.
I'm not gonna gatekeep that shit. I'm not gonna play the Michael Jordan was the be all end all. Like there's a lot of great athletes that went through the NBA in the last 50 years. So
yeah.
But all right, Tim Floyd, good pick. He was fucking terrible, and then he got fired. Yeah, that's what goes to show for being Jerry Krause's fishing buddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Luke, what do we got?
All right. God, I feel like I could easily go to another Bulls pick, but we cannot continue to talk about one terrible sports team back to back. That's just too much pain. We got to change it up and go to a different team. I mean, I got to go with the chalkiest of all chalk and go with our guy Pedro Grifol with the White Sox. Okay. That has to be the pick. The worst manager in the history of not just Chicago, but in baseball. Worst manager in baseball history. But just like, I mean, I could have picked Grady Sizemore. Really,
I was going to say technically Grady Sizemore had worse percentage,
but just like at least Grady Sizemore knows or knew. He's still with us, knows how to talk to the media in a press conference after a game, before a game. Like Pedro just was like, hey, let me talk to you and just make shit up as I go and be as boring as a human as I could possibly be. And I'm going to pretend like I'm going to be there to fire these guys up, and I'm not really firing them up at all. And One day I'm going to swear in a press conference to you. Hey, do you listen to me now? I swore. I said the F word in a press conference. Like,
Jesus.
Pain.
So Pedro Grafal, 89 and 190
Mm-hmm.
as a manager, 319 winning percentage. Yeah, you can't. There's no. Honestly, there's no wrong answer with this draft. This is
so subjective.
After a long day of working, I come home and we talk about depression and Chicago sports. It's such a great time.
Misery loves company.
This shit fucking fuels me, man. Yeah, I feel like Tim Floyd and Pedro Grafal are kind of in the same situation where they kind of fell into an unwinnable position. But at the same time, like they did nothing to dig themselves out of it. So they did where's the line from like front office is fucking horrible to because I mean that really, like, Jerry Krause was like, I'm gonna prove that I can do this without Jordan Pippen. Well, you didn't. Just real bad.
Same with Rick Hahn. I don't know. Like,
I don't think Rick Hahn ever truly had any fucking control over anything.
No, it was all Kenny
and Jerry.
Yeah.
They forced his manager on him. They told him he had carte blanche and had that room to maneuver, and he didn't. He didn't have anything.
Mm-mm.
And in this day and age with baseball too, if you don't have a terrific farm system to help build your future, you need to fucking spend money, and they never spend any money, and they're not going to spend money. I mean, they did sign Nick Maton the other day. So
there's a
Nick Maton. Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend. He's a local legend.
I actually didn't mind that signing. It's basically what they did with the Young last year.
Yeah,
except this guy's young. This guy's younger, and they might get something out of him.
Yeah, he's from Springfield area, Chatham Glenwood, which I don't know if former Major League Baseball player Jason Worth went. I don't know if he went to Chatham Glenwood. He's one of those smaller Springfield schools down there.
I love Jason Worth, man. You ever see that clip of him showing up in like a rec league and hitting like
just
450 bombs?
Yeah,
fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Give that guy an aluminum bat and let him go. All right, so I got two here. I feel like there's a lot for us to pull, and I mentioned this in pre-show. There's a lot for us to pull from with the Bears, the Bulls, and the White Sox. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take my picks and fill the rest. My first pick, I'm going with my wild card here.
Oh,
technically, and this is gonna be a conversation with Luke a little bit more than usual. You could kind of gear where I'm going. This guy technically wasn't a bad coach.
Yes.
He was a good, successful coach, but he was an absolute piece of shit. And if you're a college football coach, you need to be able to guide 18, 19-year-old men, not put them in positions to be abused by the older gentlemen. So I'm going to go with Northwestern's very own Pat Fitzgerald as my wild card.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. I mean,
fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
This is the
whole he didn't do anything wrong technically. Yeah, he was in charge. He was in fucking charge. Obviously it's not Joe Pa bad, but it's pretty fucking bad.
It's up there.
To the point where he got a big ass contract and he set that fucking program back by doing this reckless nonsense.
He fucked over the program and put them in such a terrible, shitty spot.
And it's going to take him decades to get out of it. I mean, they've played better these last 2 years than I expected them to. But
considering they
I don't know a ton about college football, but
they sucked this year. Last year with their new coach, he was coach of the year last year. Yes, that's a phenomenal comment.
Yes, Sam.
Yes, Sam. New Bears coach Pat Fitzgerald.
The new coach. I think it's David Braun.
Yeah.
He did
watched a few of their games because I really like that like makeshift stadium that they had this year
on the lakefront.
I thought that was really clever and cool.
Yeah,
and then they played
that's what the Tampa Bay Rays should be doing, but they're not going to.
And they will have that for next year as well, because the new stadium will not be ready until 2026. Selfishly, I hope it works out
next year.
well. So Oregon might be playing there next year unless they decide that will be one of the Wrigley games next year. So I'm hoping my work schedule will allow me to attend that game, whether it's at Wrigley or at the Lakefront Stadium.
So what year are they going to start doing the Big Ten Challenge games at Arlington Park?
The Big Ten championship, yeah,
2037.
Yeah, it's that'd be fun. I wouldn't have to look on StubHub for $20 tickets this week and then drive 3 hours and leave a coach's clinic in the middle of the day to go watch the Big Ten championship, which might happen. It might happen. I'm still considering that option.
Oh yeah, didn't you say they're like $15 tickets?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about
where is it? It's Madison?
Indianapolis.
No, Indianapolis.
Indy,
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, sorry.
So a game that I don't know that Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern ever played in. Maybe they got
because they never won the West. They never won.
Yeah.
Even that year they went to the Rose Bowl?
They didn't win the West. I think Iowa won the West.
Okay.
I think.
You guys
they might have played. They might have played in one Big Ten championship.
Okay. Yeah.
But God, he was so. This is. I don't want to get into the details because they're all gruesome and disgusting, and we all know all of that. And I have not heard negative things from a former athlete that I coached that went and played for Coach Fitzgerald. That being said, maybe there were negative things that occurred, and he just didn't share those things when he would come back. And
even
I don't know.
Even if he wasn't directly involved, he's in charge of the whole fucking thing.
Yes,
so
it's his.
Clean up your house, bro. He never did that.
He was not. What you have to do in this day and age is you have to be proactive, and he kind of swept it under the rug as something that. And this is one of the phrases that I cannot stand that is used constantly in the world these days. One of my pet peeves and one of my least favorite phrases that I cannot stand when you ask, why can't we do something this way, or why do we always do it this way instead? And you reply, and this is kind of reminds me of what Pat Fitzgerald's mentality was thinking. It was because that's the way it's always been, or that's how it's always been. It's like, well, maybe things need to change.
Yeah, that good old boys, right? And you look at the landscape of college football. I mean, look at what Stanford did. They hired Andrew Luck to be the GM.
Genius.
That's what they're going to do.
Genius.
That's what there's too much money going back and forth between players. There's too much there to have like an AD in charge of all that shit.
Yeah.
And you went a coach to coach, so you got to have someone in the middle there. So.
Yeah,
it's becoming more of a structured business, which is what they kind of need to do.
They,
but I want to say one thing. The Bears mentioned. I don't know if it was Poles or Warren mentioned that I think it was Poles mentioned that the Bears need a leader of men. In college sports, not only do you need that, you need someone that they need to look up to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the college football is even more of that because you're dealing with children. I mean,
yeah.
I'm in my 40s now, so I can say because these guys are young enough at this point to be my kids.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
You have to be more than that. You have to lead them and by example and show them what life is. And there's a lot of lessons that he didn't teach them. He only helped cater to the older kids doing their fucking, good old boys routine of hazing the shit out of these kids. And in this day and age, you don't do it.
I'm just here to coach.
I help manage an office every day, and 15 years ago, the way I handled a problem is way fucking different than the way I handle it now. You're dealing with millennials. You're dealing with Gen. You look at a person and you have to treat them accordingly. And he didn't do that. He rushed them into a situation where they felt uneasy and nervous and scared and fuck that guy.
Yeah, it was very much I'm just here to coach. This is not my problem kind of a mentality instead of
absolutely.
That's like being a teacher and a coach, and you have a mindset of, well, I'm just here to coach. Well, no, you work as a teacher all day in the building too. You leave an impact every single day on these kids when you work with them on like on an everyday basis. You're not like you have to do both. You have to be able to do all of those things that you are qualified to do, not just one of them. You have to do all of them. I mean. That's
and that's why I said like you're going to be the one that'll have more to say about this, because not only are you a college football dork, but you also are a high school coach for sports. So you have that both experience, and from your point of view is more valid than most. So did we lose him?
No, I think he's still there. Maybe
I think he froze.
Oh no.
He'll be back. All right. Well, I'm going to move on here. I'm going to go ahead and take my Cubs selection.
Okay. Just get it out of the way.
Yeah. And so I did something. You're back, Luke.
I'm back.
There you go. Okay. So I did something in pre-show that I've never done, which is because I needed to test an audio clip that I downloaded for this pick. I asked my guys here, like, can I play this audio clip? And you guys don't pick this person. So so this is me saying when I put the poll out later, don't vote for me because I cheated. So I'm gonna let our buddy Lee Elia tell us what he thinks of the fans, and this is my pick for the worst Chicago Cubs coach. I don't think he's the worst coach in the history of the team, but I think that this clip just needed to be played. So.
Just to stuff it up them 3,000 fucking people that show up every fucking day. Because if they're the real Chicago fucking fans, they can kiss my fucking ass right downtown and print it.
There's so much more to that, and if you haven't heard it before, look up Lee Elia tirade on YouTube. It's like a 4 minute. It's like a 4 minute clip. Fucking phenomenal. The guy is just pissed off that the fans are out there booing this team that are trying real hard. This is from 1983. Which is funny because it's a year away from them actually being pretty good. They went to the playoffs the next year, but yeah, Lee was only there for a couple of years. He had a record of 127 and 158, good for a 446 winning percentage. So it's pretty bad. Were there worse Cubs managers? Absolutely, but this guy was pretty rough. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him. He was a fine gentleman. He actually ended up being I want to say Lou Piniella hired him as a bench coach for a long time. I think it was Lou Piniella. But yeah, I mean, he still stayed in baseball. I think he coached the Phillies for a couple of years at one point, and it didn't work out there either. So he really wasn't a manager, but he was, a guy that's smart enough to stick in the game. He just has that famous moment that I had to share if anybody hadn't heard it before.
Yeah, that's an all-time rant. I had him on my short list. He was not who I would have picked.
Good.
But yeah, he was on a short list, and I was like, yeah, I got some other options, and I'm glad you chose him because that's a very, very good pick. So I'm glad he is in the fray here.
Awesome.
He just didn't quite make my cut.
Cool. Well, what do you got for round 2 here?
Let's see. Why don't I go with let's go back to the Bulls. Okay. And let's go with the White Sox version of the Chicago Bulls, Jim Boylan.
I was like, you don't even need to say his name. I know exactly what
it's the exact same person and
same complexion too.
I wish you mentioned the audio clip. There's a clip of him before he was with the Bulls when he was head coach at Utah, the Utah Utes. And it cracks me up every time because it's totally not the Jim Boylan that we knew, where he was all amped up. And he awkwardly just grabs a microphone on the court and just screams extremely loud, like, "Go Utes!" And it's like, what? That's not the same Jim Boylan that coached the NBA Bulls. Like,
Right.
just, and he's just
Well, and he was a disciple of Pops.
Yeah.
Yes.
You thought he was going to be good because Pops. I mean,
Pop's a legend.
I don't want to play the who's the greatest coach of all time, but he's in the conversation.
He's in the yep.
That guy took some teams that probably shouldn't have won a title to a title.
Sam, what if it was both? What if I chose both of them? Jim Boylan.
To be fair, Jim Boylan with an A had a 24-32 record. So he had a much better run, even though it was terrible.
You could pick him. That could be your Bulls pick.
There's only seven coaches in the history of the Chicago Bulls with a over 500. That's pretty rough.
That man.
Yeah. Out of like 50 plus years of the franchise. That's pretty
70,
shitty.
So you got
like the
Doug
early
started
60s, right?
They start, 50th anniversary was during D Rose's time, so that was 11. 11
Okay, so
plus,
we're like
maybe.
57 years.
So
Okay,
Doug
57
Collins,
years.
Doug Collins, Phil Jackson.
Rudker was the first coach, but
Yeah, yep.
Rudker.
So you got Phil Jackson, obviously, 738. Tom
Let me guess,
Thibodeau.
I was going to say Scott Skiles is on there.
Scotty Skiles is not. He had a 490.
Oh, really?
Thibodeau 647. Doug Collins 557. Dick Motta 543. Ed Badger, who was only there for a couple of years, 512, and then Rod Thorne and Vinny Del Negro each were 500.
Oh yeah,
Vinny Del Negro capped it at 500. Wow.
Yeah,
those were
then he
also
never got another head coaching gig.
That's funny because those were also a lot of bad Bulls coaches that we listed.
Yeah. Vinny Del Negro had some talented ass teams that he,
so bad.
Yeah,
he had a rookie D Rose.
Yep.
Oh boy. I hate having the Derrick Rose conversation because people like think of him way too highly in Chicago.
Well,
I like Derrick Rose. I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was a good player, but he wasn't the best player in the NBA at any point. I don't care how many I don't care that he won MVP.
No, it was LeBron or D Wade.
Wasn't even close. Yeah, he was
Kobe. You had Kobe in
there. Like
still.
the 8th or 9th best player in the NBA at that point.
Yeah.
But
maybe he was like the 3rd best in the East, but
yeah, exactly.
At best.
Yeah.
But
all right. Sean, you got 2 here.
Let's go back to another Reinsdorf team. Let's go back to the Sox. This guy, we talked about him a little bit pre-show. I'm going to do our friend Terry Bevington.
Yep.
From 1995 to 1997, he went 222 up and 214 down. So 509 winning percentage, but Jesus.
Well, those teams were fucking amazing. Like he wasted the fucking prime of Frank Thomas.
Yep.
He did. He wasted the prime of Frank.
He had Albert Bell.
Bell. You had Robin Ventura.
Yeah. They had that one year where Julio Franco went off.
What did he hit? Like 30-some home runs that year or something?
I don't remember. Let me look it up. Hang on a sec.
I want to say he hit like 30-plus bombs that year. Like 95 or 96.
Yeah, Blackjack McDowell on those teams. I mean,
Wilson Alvarez.
Yep. That was after the strike.
Yep. Right after the strike in 95.
They'd fired Gene Lamont.
Yep.
Right.
He took over for Gene Lamont. And then my biggest thing that I remember from Terry Bevington was the fucking idiot called for a reliever out of the bullpen. He's like, "Hey, give me the righty," and they're like, "You've got nobody warming up, man. There's nobody in the bullpen. You can't call for a reliever when there's nobody warming up. Like, how is that even possible in any era of sporting or baseball? Like."
It made me think of Terry Bevington too. There's a clip I retweeted on my Twitter account, Sean_Janko. It's from like baseball's greatest moments. And the Sox are playing the California Angels, and Ron Karkovice misses a pitch and hits Tim Kaiser, the home plate umpire, right in the face. And then the next pitch was right down the middle, and Kaiser calls a ball. Babington comes out, takes out his dip, and starts just chirping. It's the best hot mic moment I have ever seen. You can hear F-bombs and MFers, and it is fantastic. And you just hear Hawk and Wimpy just laughing in the background. And it's all the old sports channel graphics too. So if you're a media nerd like myself, so you see it was Tony Phillips up to bat for the Angels.
Tony Phillips. Franco was on the team in '94, so before.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
So he just missed.
We had he had Kruk. He had Baines was back.
Oh God. Forgot about Kruk.
Kruk knew. See, cool thing about John Kruk is he knew he was done, and he just said like, I got to go.
He's just like, F it, I'm done.
He's like, give someone else a shot. So, good pick, man. Yeah, you after Grifol, that would have been Bevington's my other one. So I do have a third that I will probably take next. So
yes.
Okay. I'm double dipping here.
Yeah.
Let's go with the beloved Chicago Bears. And let's go from a guy that we thought that could help us on the offense, but he just fell flat. Mark Trestman.
Yep.
2013, 2014, he went 13 up, 19 down, good for a 406 winning percentage. Thought he would save Jay Cutler's career, and that didn't really happen. And he just couldn't figure it out.
I feel like with Trestman too, they hired him from the CFL.
Yeah, which was wild.
That never fucking worked. And I know he was successful. He was he was the offensive coordinator with when Gannon won an MVP. And Gannon and Cutler had similar skills. Gannon ran a little better. Cutler's arm was a little better, but very similar players.
Yep.
But it didn't make sense. I think he's the cautionary tale that you have to bring someone that is in the league. You can't you can't bring in. Yeah, it's not like the NBA where you can bring a guy from the Euro League over. Like it doesn't work like that.
Because you have two different sets of rules too in the CFL versus the NFL. So, and was that a Jerry Angelo hire? Or was that Phil Emery?
That was an Emery. Yeah, Emery and Trestman were together. They both came in at the same time.
Yep.
I think he was like Phil. He was Emery's boy.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm not. So
Talk about that's another draft. Is bad general managers. But
it's gonna be scary.
That could be. I'm ready to get hurt again.
So he is the 5th lowest win percentage in the history of the Bears at 406. So he wasn't that awful, but he was awful. And
he was awful.
I feel like he's one of those guys. He's just like Bevington. You give him gold and he turns it into a lump of shit,
Polish a turd, it's still a turd.
Right, exactly. So and he I don't want to say this, but he always had that like stupid Mr. Rogers kind of smile.
Yes.
Like, he had that like aw shucks about him, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, man. Like
He's like, everything's fine, guys. Everything's fine.
We're gonna be okay. Like, no, we're not.
No,
man. Like,
we're in hell.
Like,
we're in hell. Leave us alone.
Right. Oh man. All right, Luke, what do you got?
Okay. Let's go back to the Cubs. And I'm gonna go with a guy from my middle school or high school era time, Jim Riggleman.
Oh.
God, that guy. I felt like I was on top of the world when Jim Riggleman was the manager of the Cubs, because all these Cubs fans, friends of mine, not that there were many, like they kind of liked Jim Riggleman as their manager for a while, because in 1998 they made the playoffs. They had Kerry Wood, and it was the top of the world, but then he fucked it all up in a hurry. It was like,
it was bad.
It was really bad,
You know what's amazing about Riggleman is he like I feel like he was just such a nice like everybody liked the guy so much because
he was great.
Yeah.
He had 5 runs in MLB as a manager, 5 different teams.
So
he was not successful. His career winning percentage was 445.
Yeah.
So how did he keep getting jobs?
One run in the playoffs when the Cubs got there and they got swept.
Oh, 98.
Yep,
because
98.
They got the wild
swept.
card.
Yep.
They got swept by the Giants.
Yes.
Braves.
Braves.
Was it the Braves?
Braves. I'm pretty sure it was the Braves.
Okay.
Yeah, You're right. It was the Braves.
But I remember that.
That was the year.
That was Eastern Iowa.
Sosa's numbers.
66 and
158.
158.
He had 134 runs scored.
Yes.
It's obscene, man.
So Riggleman had
what was
Kerry
his OPS?
Wood. He had Kerry Wood.
OPS was 1024.
Like look at the guys he had, and he just
yeah. Mark Grace was still good. That was the
Grace
O. Henry year where he hit 30 homers.
Yeah.
Who did?
Henry Rodriguez.
What about Glenn Allen Hill? How many did he have that year? Or was he on that team?
I don't know if he was. Yeah.
He was this. Glenn Allen Hill, honestly, of any baseball player ever, Albert Bells was a pretty intimidating dude. I would not fuck with Glenn Allen Hill.
Oh,
he was like Popeye. You know what I mean? Like that fucking guy's arms were like,
Isn't he the one that hit the rooftop allegedly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, and there was that rumble, and you thought him and Frank Thomas were going to go at it, and they ended up being like the guys to like break it up. I think if you're that big, you don't need to.
No.
No.
It's the little scrappy guys. Like it's like Pods taking down Barrett in 06.
That was the year the Cubs had Mickey Morandini, 98. The most white trashinest looking dude in the history of Major League Baseball. Props to Randy Johnson for being number 2.
He's actually a badass photographer now.
He is. Yeah. He's like George W. Bush. He found some art and he just calmed down.
Yeah. Him and Junior are great photographers now.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Terry Mulholland.
Yeah.
Rod Beck. Yeah, Rod Beck was on that team. Steve Traxel, Mark Clark, Kevin Tappaney won 19 games with an ERA close to 5. That's fucking 1.4 whip. That's how much runs. That's how they hit that year. That's how everybody hit in the late 90s.
Well, steroid era. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark. It was like Maddox was the only guy that was getting people out still.
Was he? Did he go back to the Cubs? No, he didn't go back to the Cubs.
Later, that was later on. Yeah,
that was like 03.
Yeah, it was way later.
Yeah.
All right.
Damn.
Good pick.
That's a great pick.
All right, I got 2 here. Well, I got the opportunity to just pick whoever I want that's left on the Bulls and the White Sox. So I'm gonna pick a Bears coach first.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't want to pick him, but I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna go with Matt Eberflus.
Oh,
I mean,
recency bias.
You know what? A little bit, but also just the circumstances. The guy.
Yeah.
Trouble. Wasn't that that was Dale Torborg? Wasn't it?
Dale Torborg.
Yeah, that was Jeff. That was Jeff Torborg's son.
Yeah,
who was also he was the Kiss. The Kiss Demon. Yeah, the Kiss Demon. He was also the White Sox
strength and conditioning coach.
Strength and conditioning coach for a long time.
Because fun fact, I ran into him at spring training, Dale Torborg, and I called him Demon, and he signed a baseball for me, Demon.
Nice. That was the worst gimmick ever, man. I don't know how that
he's
poor
like,
guy.
how the fuck do you know? I'm like, dude, I watched old WCW. I knew who the fuck you were. And I watched TNA run with AJ Pierzynski.
AJ Pierzynski hit Ozzie Guillen hitting the dude with the chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Matt Eberflus. I was going to go another route. There's one more coach that I had in mind. There's a couple of them actually, but the recent 3-4 weeks of his run, I had to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to. I feel like he's a nice guy. I feel like he's a really good defensive coordinator. He's going to get a job somewhere next year if he wants. Otherwise, he can sit on his ass and do nothing. He's not one of those guys that's going to be on TV next year.
No.
But yeah, just bad. Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. Like the guy turned another guy that you can't. And again, he didn't have an offensive line ever in the 2 years he was here. But
no,
young quarterbacks, one that's not really a starter, and now one that's still trying to figure his way out. But just stupid tactical errors, just really Mr. Magoo type shit with the team. So
I mean, part of that is, to me, the amount of times you blow a fourth quarter lead in the games that you should have had as wins that became losses because you don't know how to handle yourself and your team in the most important parts of a game in the fourth quarter.
They're 4-8 right now.
Yeah. And
they could very easily be like 7-5 right now.
It could be 8
with just a couple of like little tweaks.
Yep.
Like
could be a playoff team this year. Could have potentially been a playoff team last year if he managed those games the same way. Like he's
Broncos game.
Yeah, like just the amount of times, like historically, with the fourth quarter blown leads, like you had to.
I seriously thought it was like so much like last season, not this season, but it was like it was clockwork that like fourth quarter the team fucking fell apart every week. I thought they were doing it on purpose. I thought it was a tactic for the longest time, but no, the guy was just not. He wasn't bright. Like
and his challenges were stupid. His challenges were dumb. Like it did not make sense. Like there's a clearly catch. Like what are they looking at? That coaching staff. So
but that's also he didn't. A lot of these teams have people in the booth doing that, and I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but it could be just like the White Sox, where their analytics department's a dude with a fucking abacus sitting in a closet. Did we lose our guy again?
Maybe.
He looks angry. Look at him. He looks angry.
Does he have My Sox Summer's internet? Jesus Christ.
Luke always has a little bit of tweaks here and there. You're back. You back, Luke?
Yeah, I don't know why it always fucking happened. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm here.
Right. So Eberflus, and then I'm gonna go Bulls with my next one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Fred Hoiberg.
Oh, that hurts.
I've talked to people about it before, and some people are like, well, he wasn't that bad, and those were some talented ass teams, man, and he just couldn't figure it out. And he's another guy that just kind of he didn't fit in with the pros. Like he couldn't motivate them. And you know what, most of the time pros don't need motivating, but if you're not a good tactician in the NBA, you're gonna get shown up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that's why I want Hoiberg. He again wasn't the worst. He was kind of in the middle of the pack for the Bulls. He went 115 and 155 in 4 years. I am amazed that he made it 4 years with this team. So,
and he went to the playoffs. What, a couple years?
1 year, the second year, which is 16-17.
Was that just Saul, Rondo?
Yes,
Butler.
Wade, Butler. They had McDermott, Nikola Mirotic,
Vucevic. Yeah,
that was the Paul Zipser year.
Oh God,
Paul.
I still remember
Michael Carter Williams, which is basically Reggie Rondo. Like, why did you just pick the same fucking guy up?
I still remember that. Yeah. If Rondo doesn't break his thumb, the Bulls win that playoff series against Boston. They upset number 1 seed Boston.
All of those Bulls Boston series in that era, like I had like the one with the one against
08, 09
Barnett and those guys. Yeah, that one took years off my life. Like
same. I was a freshman in college watching that. Oh,
heart attack. The whole time. I think that was one of those things that like my wife realized, like, this guy really likes fucking sports. Like at that point, there's only a couple times where I started to see spots because I was like so nervous. It was that, and then it was the NFC Championship in 2006 with the Bears against
the
It's the Saints. Yeah, the Saints. That game it took years off my life.
The NFC Championship in 2011 took my life. Or 2010,
one?
the Bears Packers one.
Yeah.
That
We had fun. My wife and I were in a hotel watching that in a hot tub, and my wife's a Packers fan. I'm a Bears fan, so we just sat in a hot tub and drank champagne and watched that. That was depressing.
I'm still depressed about it because the play clock hit 0 and they didn't call it.
Sam, I think you've known me long enough. I am definitely a dork. So,
Hoiberg's kids played basketball at Hinsdale Central while he was coaching there. So after he got fired, his son, I believe, was
which one? Jack was it was the twins. Oh, Charlie and Sam.
Yeah, I believe they were still.
Why do you know that?
Iowa State, man.
I know. I'm fucking around. Yeah. I just think it's funny.
So he, during his time after the Bulls fired him, would go and volunteer and help coach at Hinsdale Central to help coach his kids. Because he talked to coach, he goes, I'm available. He goes, you want to help coach high school basketball? He's like, yeah, I got nothing else to do. And I've got it made right now because the Bulls are still paying me millions of dollars. I don't have to do.
Oh, yeah, that contract was huge.
He basically said, "I don't have to do shit. I've got it made for the next year. I don't have to do anything." And then while he was coaching there, I think it was the middle of the season, he kind of told him "Hey, just so you guys know, I want to give you a heads up. We're going to be moving to Nebraska. So what you guys know now." The Bulls are paying me a good amount of money, and I'm just doing this to volunteer and all. But my kids won't be going to your school next year. So see ya. But his exact words to the Hinsdale Central coaches was like, "You have no idea how much I'm coaching for free, and the Bulls are paying me millions of dollars. I could do whatever I want. I could sit on my ass and do nothing. It's great." When coaches do get fired, they do kind of go through that hey, this ain't so bad. I'm getting paid they paid me to go away. It's not like the NFL where you get cut and you only get the guaranteed money and not the rest.
Yeah. And he was so highly touted coming in. That was another thing that really kind of set it off for me.
I wasn't a fan of it both ways. Being an Iowa State fan and a Bulls fan, because Iowa State, you still had this core nucleus that just got off of Sweet 16, and all those guys were coming back pretty much. So I was kind of pissed about that. And then they hired Steve.
He had to go get his bag, man. I mean, at that point, the iron was hot. He had to go.
I remember doing Des Moines Sports Radio, and we had Hoiberg Roch during that whole summer. It was annoying. Is he not? Is he going? Is he not? What do you know?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean those teams were talented too. When his first year he won 42-40, and they didn't get into the playoffs. But that was the last year with Gasol and Rose and all those guys.
And then they got Rondo Wade, yeah. Gasol.
Yeah.
Gasol.
I like Gasol here, man. That guy tried his ass off. He had problems with his feet. He was not moving as well, but guy played his ass off. Yeah, Hall of Famer, man.
He's one of my all-time favorite players, Paul Gasol.
Yeah, he was great. I never realized how close he was with Kobe until after Kobe passed. They were like brothers, man.
Legit brothers, yeah. I think he's godfather to some of the one daughter.
I think we'll talk about Vinny of the Black pretty soon. I know from people that worked in the organization that that happened, and they had to
That's
find him a
confirmed.
new job elsewhere because of that. So,
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Good point,
all right, Luke, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going to close out the Bears category here with a guy that, again, people thought that this was the answer. They thought this was the leader of men that we've been looking for to take us to the promised land.
I think this is who I was going to pick, but I won't.
Yeah, John Fox. Yeah.
Oh, yep. he
John
was on my
Fox.
list.
Oh, yeah. And, he didn't have the most talent. Well, fuck that. He was here to build them up and, like, get the team, like, oh, yeah, he's been in the Super Bowl twice. He could do it. He's the guy. He knows what he's doing. And it proved that the recycled coaching thing doesn't always work. And
Second worst winning percentage in the history of the team.
oh my God.
What was it 291?
292, yeah.
And he was
Okay.
around for how long? They kept him around for almost 3, like,
Yeah, 15 to 17.
yeah.
Those are some badass teams too.
And then that was was that Emery, and then they brought in Ryan Pace after that, or was Pace? Pace didn't hire John Fox, right? No.
Pace didn't hire him, but Pace was one of those.
Yeah, no,
years.
Pace. So he came in, and so Fox came in 15. Pace was the general manager in 15. So
Okay.
Did they hire him later?
Maybe.
I remember they brought that dude from Indianapolis in to like be the consultant.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Jim.
You know what?
not
Yeah, Jim
Irsay.
Irsay. Was it? No, not Jim
No,
Irsay.
Ballard. No, not Ballard.
Ballard. Yeah, Steve. Not Steve Ballard. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I think they hired Fox. It was they hired the coach before they hired a general manager. If anybody in the chat room can confirm that with me, I think I remember that now. That was a bad team.
And that was when they're working on like Yelper brings up the quarterback dilemma when they're like he was a lame duck coach and he was trying to give his input on who to draft from the quarterback draft class. Wasn't that John Fox? And then they kind of looked at John Fox and were like, well, you're not going to be here next year to coach him anyway, so we don't really care about what you think. And then they drafted Mitch.
They moved up a spot to draft Mitch.
The second year they went 3-13, so that's 2016. Do you remember who started the most games at quarterback?
Mike Glennon.
Second year of John Fox? No. So this was before
This was before Glennon. Yeah,
this was before Glennon and Mitch. This would be
so Cutler started the year and he got hurt. He started 5 games. Brian Hoyer started 5 games, and Matt Barkley started.
Oh man,
USC great Matt Barkley.
Yeah.
14 interceptions, 8 touchdowns. Hoyer wasn't bad though. If you look at Hoyer's numbers, 6 touchdowns, 0 picks, 1,400 yards, and 5. That's not bad. No, it wasn't Craig Krenzel.
The former Cubs and White Sox closer, Craig Krenzel.
God.
What about Henry Burris?
You know what? Ryan Pace was so bad.
Where's Pace or Emery?
I would say
Emery
Pace.
was worse. I think Emery was worse.
I'm not
gonna say bad things about my Eastern Illinois guy, Ryan Pace.
Oh Christ!
Oh. Get out of here with this Panther slander.
This would be a good. You're right. We should fucking do a general manager draft. Oh man, we're gonna.
I think he froze
tear
again.
some shit up. Yeah. Okay.
Mid chug.
He's back. You're back. All right, Sean, you got 2 here.
Let me go with the. Let's go with the Cubs. This guy managed from 2012 to 2013. He went 127 up and 197 down. Good for a 392 winning percentage. That is no other than Dale Swaim.
Yeah, he was rough.
It was just, it was him or Mike Quade. So,
yeah, I have a couple of lists, and both of them have Quade.
I was like, that is just a bad stretch there for the Cubs. And I can't really talk from the Sox point of view because we all know who took over after Ozzie. But Dale Swaim, and he just looked angry all the time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking at the teams that he had. That was like the tail end of Alfonso Soriano and Starlin Castro, Darwin fucking Barney.
Darwin Barney,
Giovanni Soto at catcher. Yeah, these
Yep.
teams sucked, man. These were Jeff Samardzija was the ace.
It was bad. It was
That was
bad
rough.
Cubs. It
Yeah.
was bad Cubs.
Brian Dempster, Carlos Marmol was the closer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, those were some shit shows. That was the first year, and then the second year, basically the same thing except Wellington Castillo was a catcher.
Oh, old friend alert.
Edwin Jackson on one of his 38 teams he played for.
I was just gonna say that too. What of his?
Yeah, like every day you have that what's the grid thing for baseball?
Oh
You know,
yeah,
on
yeah.
Baseball Reference. I just literally like if I can't think of something, I just put Edwin Jackson every time, and it works like 90% of the time. So
Because he played for all 30 teams. Oh, okay. So
Castro. I remember Cubs fans just losing their shit over Starlin Castro. He's going to be like
the next big
superstar. Yeah.
Yep. I remember Corey Patterson hype.
Yeah.
Corey Patterson was supposed to be that too. He never panned out to be.
Corey Patterson had some injury stuff, didn't he? Like had like a knee thing and
maybe because I remember they shipped him off to Baltimore. I remember that.
Starlin Castro went to the Yankees, did nothing.
Yeah. He didn't really live up.
No, not at all. Again.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah. What do you got for your wild card?
Well, I'm debating between two. I can go Blackhawks or I can go Chicago Sky. Those are my two options right now.
Ooh, Chicago Sky, huh?
Yeah. I did some research on the Sky, and it was pretty rough early on in the franchise history. Okay, thanks, Yump. He did Thursday.
Thanks, Yump. Yeah.
But most of our audience will probably remember this guy. He's from the Blackhawks, 2005 to 2006. Trent Yawney went 33, 55, and 15. Good for a 393 winning percentage. And there's some bad Hawks teams.
Yeah, that's another like circumstance situation with Yanni because wasn't that like that was pre
Kane and Taves.
Taves. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then
now did Q replace Yanni?
Dennis
was there a guy in between?
Dennis Savard. Denis Savard. Savoir-faire.
I always say his name with a French. Denis Savard.
Yeah, you gotta go Savoir-faire, as Pat Foley would call him. But he got 06 to 08, and he was just a one game under 500. But yeah, Trent Yawney inherited. That was like when I stopped watching Blackhawks hockey. Was when around that, and then once they got Kane Taves, I started watching again.
I didn't do a Hawks category specifically because that's like the team I like hockey just in general. I love watching hockey. I actually went to a Hawks game in Milwaukee in the preseason this year.
Oh, nice.
Luke, you got some feedback going. You got something
humming.
Yeah, I can hear you know why? Because this microphone, when I reset the Wi-Fi, the whole thing went on to full blast on volume. So hopefully it's better now.
Yeah, you sound fine now.
Yep.
All right. That's a good pick, man. I wish I had more insight, but again, like
hockey's like my worst too.
Yeah.
But I was just like, for the Hawk fans that listen to the pod, they're probably thinking of other people too. But
in the last like 20 years, I've been to far more Wolves games than Hawks games.
Hey, respect my Iowa Wild. We play the Wolves quite a bit.
I think I've seen them play the Wild a couple of times at least.
Yeah, we hate them.
All right, Luke, you got your wild card still, buddy.
Okay. So we've got a Blackhawks one. I'm not going to stick with the Blackhawks theme. I'll save that for the dump list. This is a tough decision. I'm going to continue to go more modern and not go too far back in the time machine here. We're going college football because Notre Dame fans think that they're a Chicago team, and a lot of people think that they're Chicago because they get a lot of Chicago coverage. So we're going with the Notre Dame coach.
Okay.
We're going with Tyrone Willingham. He was
Probably he's probably the only Notre Dame coach that wasn't successful in some capacity.
Bob Davie was not very good, but he still got some of the Lou Holtz classes because he followed, and that's tough to follow up against Lou Holtz. So I don't think that was very fair. But Tyrone Willingham, they brought in from Stanford, and they thought, this is a great hire because he won at Stanford and he had a 10-win team at Stanford. And Stanford and Notre Dame are like the exact same types of institutions where it's hard to have success at an high academic institution. And Tyrone Willingham could show that he could do it. And he had like his first year successful, and then he sucked. He sucked at recruiting. He sucked as a coach, and then he got fired, and then he got another chance at Washington. Like he kept
and then he did really well at Washington, though.
He was okay, but he was not like. I mean, God, he was terrible at Notre Dame. Like,
is that when Notre Dame after Tyrone Willingham? Is that when they hired Charlie Weiss?
Yes.
Okay.
So what Willingham, Charlie Weiss was pretty bad too. But
he was.
Charlie Weiss had good. He had Tommy Jankowski, he had Jeff Samardzija on that team. But as far as expectations go, there's a lot of hype with Tyrone Willingham, and they had a very good first season and totally bombed from there. And like, God.
Yeah, I mean, you look his record at Notre Dame is 21-15, and you think to yourself, that's not bad. Yeah, no, that's pretty fucking bad for Notre Dame.
That's bad for Notre Dame.
It's horrible. Like Notre Dame has had some bad coaches through the years. Like Bob Davie was not very good. He was handed the team from Lou Holtz. Tyrone Willingham couldn't get it right. Charlie Weiss couldn't figure it out. Brian Kelly murdered a student while he was at Notre Dame. I mean, like, God, Marcus Freeman might be the guy. I mean,
new Bears coach Marcus Freeman.
Yes.
I hope not.
Anytime someone mentions Lou Holtz now, I think of Ryan Day, and I'm like, you motherfucker, you made me feel bad for Lou Holtz, that fucking prick.
Oh man, Ryan Day.
Good choice though.
Yeah,
good choice.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the Notre Dame angle. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's a great angle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they are. I mean, they call the marketing scheme is Northwestern is Chicago's team or whatever. Notre Dame's always been Chicago's team.
Yeah,
too.
they get a lot of heavy Chicago coverage. Like, I mean,
too much Irish Catholic in the Chicago and Chicagoland area to not become Notre Dame people.
So
that said, fuck Notre Dame. Okay.
Yes, I agree. I'm
not a fan.
100% wholeheartedly agree with your sentiment there. Don't tell that to Gordo though. Oh wait, he already knows my thoughts on Notre Dame.
I'm sure if Gordo isn't watching right now, he's going to watch tomorrow. So
he's going to scream.
Every week he texts me like the next day, like bitching about picks. So I think Gordo. I think Gordo and Sean are our two guys that are always either giving me a list or talking it up afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. So my last pick. I don't technically have a theme here, but I do have, Eberflus lost his team with stupidity, lost his players. Hoiberg lost his players. Was it at his fault? Maybe not. I don't know. I grew up watching the White Sox in the 1990s, and I loved watching this gentleman play. For as much as I loved watching him play, I did not like watching him manage. So my pick for Chicago White Sox, I believe your picks are better. This is number 3 on my list. But I got to go Robin Ventura.
He was on my list.
He's on my list.
The whole process of bringing him in was such a fucking asinine shit show. Mm-hmm. You don't convince people to manage a major league team with no experience. You shouldn't have to convince these people of that. They had to sit down with Robin Ventura and lay it out for them. That's fucking nonsense to me.
Yeah.
Could Robin maybe in 10 more years, if he wants to come back, find some success? Maybe. It could happen, but his run here is a bad team. But when you deal with teams that have conflict, like the Chris Sale stuff, the Drake LaRoche shit, and you can't sustain and keep them together, what are you doing here? So yeah, I'm going Robin Ventura. He let's see, he had a 463 winning percentage. So
it was all saved by that 2012 year. That 2012 year was his best year. 2012 year.
That was 85-77.
They just missed the playoffs.
Yep. That was the year Alex Rios was fucking great that year.
They picked up Kevin Youkilis at the trade deadline.
Yep.
Orlando Hudson.
They had Fukudome for a little while there.
Adam Dunn actually hit like 40 home runs that season.
Yeah.
Paulie
you know what? I hear a lot of people bash the shit out of Adam Dunn. Adam Dunn had one historically terrible year here. The rest of his run, it wasn't that bad.
It
really wasn't. He struck out 200 times. He also walked. I have this conversation with my dad thinks Adam Dunn's the worst fucking baseball player in the history of the world.
No,
and it's because of the old mentality. Love you, Dad.
Right.
Old because he's going to listen at some point. Old mentality of not understanding, on base percentage, OPS, things like that.
Right.
They don't have a batting average. They're worthless. It's that Christopher Russo look at sports, and
I'm gonna yell at everything too.
Right, it's very meatball, but again, was he what they were expecting? No, I was expecting him to hit 50 homers every year. I really was.
I was expecting between 40 and 50.
Yeah,
back to 30 and give me 40 homers and drive in 100. Man, that's what
the fucking rotation that year too in 2012.
No more Burley. It was Danks, Floyd,
PV, Sale, Floyd, Quintana.
Oh,
Danks only started 9 games that year.
Then he had shoulder injury.
The bullpen was kind of a shit show. Addison Reed was not good, but they had 4 really good starting pitchers, and that team should have gone to the playoffs.
They should have. They faltered in September. I think they had to go at least 500 in September, and then they ended up only winning like 3 games or something, if I remember right.
Bad manager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it was right after Ozzie, so like that's what.
And then after that season's when they hired Rick Hahn, or they promoted Rick Hahn. Rick Hahn was already on the team, but
they promoted Kenny to president, and then yeah,
because he was going to leave for Toronto, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Which he should have fucking done.
Yeah. All right, let's go dump lists for a few here. Oh, you know what? I actually have 2 lists to show. Baloney, who was going to be on the show, but it turns out he had
he decided to be a dumbass.
Yeah, he had tickets to the Hawks game. It's fine, it happens. So worst coaches ever. He took John Fox, Tim Floyd. So we already talked about Lou Fonseca, who was the coach in the 1930s. Quade.
Yeah.
Now when did Quade? When was the Quade the manager?
Quade was 10-11.
Okay.
95 and 104 for 477 winning percentage. He was on my list.
Yeah, so it was right before Swaim. Yeah.
Right before Swaim. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, those were some bad teams. Real bad. Okay. And then every damn one of them for the Chicago Fire. Okay.
I don't follow soccer, so I can't.
No.
I thought about looking into the Fire a little more, but I was kind of like, yeah, fuck soccer. It's kind of a fool's errand since we're not like regular watchers, And then Yumper gave us a list here. Boylan. Yeah.
Marge. Trustman. I didn't even notice that.
Who's Marge?
Quade Bevington. Yeah, those are good ones. Is it Quade or Quaddy?
It's Quade.
Quaddy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I had a couple on my list.
Yeah. What do you got?
I have Bill Cartwright for Bulls.
Bill Cartwright.
Cartwright.
01 to 03, 51 and 100 for a 336 winning percentage.
You can't get on him for that though, because they got rid of the only good player they had, and they drafted 2 high school kids. Like,
yeah, that was bad. I also had Dennis Savard from the Blackhawks. And then I had Jeremy Collision.
Yeah,
Colleton,
yeah.
however you say it. And then my other one was Dave Collins from the Chicago Sky. He was the Sky's first head coach in 2006. He went 5-29 with a
Hall of
140.
Famer Dave Collins.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I found this out. They played
best
their games
6-man ever.
They played their games at UIC Pavilion that year as the expansion team. So that was my wild card I was teasing earlier, but I went with Yanni instead.
Okay.
I think if you remember the first year of the WNBA, all the teams pretty much picked a figurehead type of guy to run the team, not actual coach. That's why that's how they started off on the wrong foot, and it took them 20 years to get back.
Yeah.
I'm doing good now. I've always kind of like from afar watched the Sky, but I watch them. Yeah. I watched a lot this year.
I watched a lot during
accessibility is kind of tricky, but
yeah, I watched a lot during the championship run when they had Vandersloot and Candace and all that. So that was fun.
Yeah, the finals this year was really good. The last game, the refs kind of fucked them over.
That's historically in women's basketball, college or pro, referees are terrible.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is
unfortunate.
Good
people in there.
But that was my
all right. Any other White Sox we want to talk about?
Jerry Manuel.
There you go. Well, really? I don't know. I got a soft spot for Jerry. One time,
I do too.
One time he called my house as a kid, and it may or may not have been an audio recorded message saying to buy some season tickets, and it was like, "Hi, this is White Sox manager Jerry Manuel. And as a White Sox fan, we encourage you to buy some season tickets." Yeah, I like Jerry. I like him.
He had a better winning percentage than Tony La Russa.
The second go around?
Yeah.
Or overall? Or did they combine his 10 years?
Overall.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That 2000 team was special. And
that team was so good. That was my first sports heartbreak. Was that 2000 White Sox team?
Yeah, I think we used to go, my buddy and I used to just jump in his van after school and just drive on Monday, like pretty much every Monday game we went to you bring a Pepsi can and it's like $5 tickets. And yeah, like I grew up Jerry Manuel. I have like kind of a soft spot for him. I think he's he's a really good dude too. Like that. Now that guy was a leader of men, I thought,
he's coaching Team USA right now.
Just like Jim Boylan.
Yeah.
That we didn't talk about that. Jim Boylan ended up becoming
assistant coach on Team USA.
He was a head coach.
Oh, you're like
when they're in the World Championship, not in the Olympics.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He was because Pops was in charge of everything. He was the head coach of some of those World Championship teams.
With the Spurs.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought Torborg was worse than Manuel.
Yeah.
Ricky Renteria didn't really help himself much, but I feel like that second year they went to the playoffs, the
2020
I feel like they did nothing to help him with pitching.
No.
They should have gotten some pitchers.
They should have gotten Lance Lynn that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's go to the next one. Any more Cubs? Did you have any more White Sox you wanted to talk about, Luke?
Yeah, the guy has never won a game in his managerial career. Will Venable. He's never won a game. And neither has Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown is the Bears head coach, and he's never won a game in his managerial career. So,
did you look at the injury report, by the way, for the Bears this week?
Yes, I did. Boy. It was interesting.
So, what was it? So, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Swift, Roshan Johnson, none of them practiced today.
Yeah.
That's the entire offense outside of what? Komet and Odunze?
But Komet doesn't even get targets anyway, so
yeah. It's going to be a rough week if some of those guys don't play.
I heard about that, and I heard that Thomas Brown's actually trying to take care of the guys and like give them like veterans days off.
Okay, makes sense.
That's what I've heard. So
should we talk about for White Sox managers Kid Gleason because he kind of fucked up and he couldn't even see that his guys were cheating behind his back.
yeah, let me go back in my time machine in my DeLorean and then.
Kid Gleason, played by the dad from Frasier and 8 Men Out.
Hey, great movie.
Oh man.
Are we still sticking Sox or anybody?
I don't have any more Cubs. Cubs are covered pretty good.
I want to mention Don Cooper managed 2 games.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Donnie Cooper.
Let's see. Oh, for the Bulls, can we go to the Bulls for a second?
Yeah, what do you got?
Their current head coach really has Billy Donovan.
That's accurate.
I mean, come on, it's just the name more than anything. If you look at his record and look how the Bulls are doing every year, what makes him such are they just kind of saying, yeah, fuck it at this point? We can't find anybody better and there's no reason to fire him and replace him?
I feel like they built that team for Lonzo Ball to be their focal point.
Yeah.
On both ends, and he fell apart and they didn't have a backup plan.
Yeah.
And they're just coasting at this point. I feel like Billy Donovan always did really well with point guards, guys like Dennis Schroeder and stuff like that. They always really, really excelled under him. And you're seeing Kobe White do that now a bit too, but Kobe White's not really a point guard. But
he's a
I don't know if Billy Donovan's a good coach or a bad coach because I can't watch the fucking games anymore.
Yeah.
You didn't buy your $16 antenna from Target like I did, and I get CHS on now.
So I live in St. Charles, and I once had years ago when we were thinking about just cutting the cord, I had a guy from a antenna company come to look into installing the whole house one, in the attic.
The big ass one. Yeah.
He goes, "You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money." And I go, "Well, why?" He goes, "Because you're too low." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Your town is too low to get good coverage."
Oh.
So I have bought I bought 3 different types of home antennas over the years, and none of them ever work. So
because of the valley.
I don't even know. He just said that we're too low compared to other towns, so we're sinking. Pretty soon, I'm going to be in the Earth's crust. So, but yeah, I think if it worst case scenario, I think I'm going to switch to DirecTV streaming at one point. But yeah, it's really like how do you become a fan or sustain fans without?
Right.
Yeah, I've watched 1 game this year. It was on ESPN.
I've watched a couple. I bought an antenna, and Des Moines actually got a hub for CHSN.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I've been able to. It's been kind of sporadic though. I'll put it on and be like, "Program not available in your area," or "Program not available." And I'm like, "What the hell?" But then it was at night. But then during the day, I watch a matinee Hawks game. So. I have no idea. So I don't know what
disappointing. I'm not doing the app. Fuck them.
No, I'm not doing that either. I'm not giving
the app should be way cheaper if they're going to do that.
Absolutely. The app should be $10 for the 3 teams.
Well, and all 3 teams suck.
Yes, that's why I said $10.
Yeah. Right. But all right. Any other Bulls coaches? I really didn't. I liked part of Scott Skiles. Scott Skiles had a good half and a bad half.
Yeah.
The good half.
But if you look at. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just gonna say the good half was when he was brought in and they made the playoffs with Heinrich in 05 maybe.
Yeah.
And it was very defensive oriented, and they were averaging they were only giving up 80
Gordon
points
was
a game.
Shooting the lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Ben Gordon could put up 30 on a night, 30, 40 points a night. Captain Kirk, Luol Deng,
Dang before Thibs killed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott Skiles, and it's happened wherever he goes. He has 2 or 3 years where the players buy into him, and he's a smart dude, and he knows what he's talking about. But he fucking screams at him all the time.
Yep.
And they just give up at some point. They're like, stop yelling at me. I'm a fucking 28-year-old man. I'm not a 16-year-old kid. Go coach high school if you're going to yell at people, you know?
Young buses to talk to Del Negro.
Vinny Del Negro, you know what the problem with Vinny Del Negro was? Is that it was another one of those that, like, you were hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
They had a good team both those years. I'm gonna load them right now. 2009.
Rose.
They had Rose, Gordon, Deng. That was Drew Gooden, Brad Miller, Tyrus Thomas, Larry Hughes, Nocioni. You know, they had a lot of fucking talent on that team.
Nocioni, man, when he got on a heater, god damn.
One of my favorite players of all time, El Chapu.
Was he?
Ever since I saw him dunk on Garnett in the Olympics,
in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was awesome. No, he done in the Olympics. He did a reverse dunk right in Garnett's face. It's amazing.
Right. And then was Noah on that team?
Yeah, Noah was on the team. That was the year they traded at the trade deadline for John Salmons, and he was really, really good that year.
Yeah. Didn't Salmons average like 20 or something?
18 points, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Derrick Rose's rookie year. So you could see those flashes of like him taking over games.
Closing games.
So that first year they went 41-41. That was the year they lost to Boston when they had a heart attack.
In 7.
Yeah.
When every game went to fucking overtime.
Next year, same thing, 41-41. And they lost to Cleveland. They got their ass kicked by Cleveland. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the same team the next year.
Was that LeBron Cleveland?
Yeah.
Was that the team that went to the finals?
That was the year Noah was like, "You guys think Cleveland's cool?"
Oh yeah, that was all-time.
That was that
quote.
year.
All-time great quote.
So and then he got into it with Paxson over.
That's right.
God knows what. Paxson was a heavy hitter, man. Paxson.
You
talk to Paxson in public, he's the nicest guy in the world. You talk to Paxson in private, he's a fucking douchebag. And I met John Paxson. John Paxson's a super nice guy. He's a very charitable dude. So I don't want to call him that, but talk to him professionally. Not a nice guy. He got into Eddie Robinson. There's a story where he got into Eddie Robinson.
Yeah.
He called him a fucking pussy because Eddie Robinson like tweaked his knee and he's like, I'm not going back out today. I can't run. And Eddie Robinson sucked. Eddie Robinson was a waste.
I remember that.
There were a lot of problems with Eddie Robinson. Yeah, they signed him because they couldn't get anybody else. It was like, we couldn't get Tracy McGrady or fucking Grant Hill. Here's Eddie Robinson, you know?
I remember the McGrady thing. I was hopeful.
Well, they thought he was going to be like Darius Miles. They thought there were a lot of things that he could have been, but he just, yeah. But yeah, so they had to find him a job. So he went to the Clippers, and he actually was successful at the Clippers. He had a year where he won 56 games with the Clippers, and then he was done.
Del Negro?
Yeah. Like what? Like how did that happen? You win 56 games.
Was that Clippers team?
You lost in the first round, but you still won 56 games.
I'm wondering.
Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Jamal Crawford,
Baron Davis,
Caron Butler. No, they didn't have Baron Davis.
No, okay, not that team. Okay.
No, so Chauncey Billups was there. Lamar Odom. Yeah, I mean that was a team, man. Yeah, I guess losing in the first round, they were like, "Fuck it, leave," you know. But
those Clippers teams were fun though too. The Lob City Clippers, those teams were fun.
Yeah, Blake and Paul were magical together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin was just a man beast.
Then you had the best sixth man possibly ever, Jamal Crawford. So
and he was like, you could see the flashes in Chicago, but then like once he left, he just took off.
That bench, man, they had Lamar Odom, remember Eric Bledsoe was really good.
He could shoot the three.
Matt Barnes and Jamal Crawford. That's a hell of a bench.
That's a great bench.
So yeah, I guess if you go 56-26 and you lose in the first round, that's probably
that's why
you're
probably close to being like a 1 seed or something at that point if you're 56-26.
Okay, so the finale here, we got to talk some extra Bears here.
Oh, I got one more wild card I didn't mention. I just noticed.
Oh, what do you got?
From the 1980s Northwestern football era, the Dennis Green.
You're gonna crown his ass?
The Wildcats are who they thought they were.
Oh, yeah, he was like his winning percentage was like 180 something.
Well, it's Northwestern.
Yeah.
What about?
Let me ask you guys: do you think Northwestern ever should have been in the Big Ten? Like,
they wanted.
It's such
Where
little
else are you
brother
gonna put 'em?
syndrome. I don't know.
They don't fit in the Big 12. I'm sorry, they don't.
Let's go back to the 90s and put them in Conference USA.
They're in the right
I don't
conference.
know.
They're just not going to succeed there.
No, they're not.
Especially now. Like,
it's just so out of place. Like you're setting them up to fail. Like, you have these programs that spend 15 times over what you spend on your program, and
it's just going to be interesting because they spent $800 million on this renovation of Ryan Field.
Yeah, and the stadium's only going to be like 35,000 people because they know
what?
It's going to be a small venue. It's not like going to be a massive like 80,000 seat venue because nobody goes to Northwestern football games.
Right.
It's
Jesus.
Right, that's the reality of it.
So
okay. Let's talk a little bit of Bears head coaches because there's a few we got to mention. I think everybody thought Dave Wanstedt was going to be very successful, and he wasn't.
But he was fine. He was not like he fizzled off a little bit, but he was not like he made the playoffs a couple of times and had some talented teams.
He won one play. They won one playoff game.
He's following the footsteps of Ditka, and like.
That was the problem.
Yeah. And he kind of like he went on to have a successful coaching career at Pittsburgh,
he wasn't bad at Pitt.
I
feel like him and Dick Duran were pretty similar in their careers. I like Dick Duran. I really did. I wanted him to succeed, but it just didn't work out.
I still can't believe that 2001 team. That doesn't pissing their legs against Carolina.
You got Matt Nagy, who actually was over 500. He did make the playoffs in Miami, Yump. You are right. I have a guy at work that's a huge Dolphins fan. When I mentioned worst Chicago coaches, he's like, "So you're going to talk about Wanstedt?" And I'm like, "Probably not." And you are correct. The ownership is always going to be the biggest problem. But
George is the worst.
Yeah. They're never going to sell it, so we just got to stick it out or pick a different team.
We're in hell. As Chicago fans, we are in hell.
And then obviously we have to talk about Abe Gibran, who went 11-30.
But statistically, the worst Bears
in the 70s. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's about it. No, they're not gonna have a 682 win percentage like George Halas did.
No.
Hey. Lovie Smith, 563.
Yeah.
And they still fired his ass.
10-win season. Oh, that's not good enough. You're fired.
Hey, he won 3 playoff games, too.
He did. He went to the damn Super Bowl.
And then he got us our first pick,
He did.
All right. Well, yeah. This was a fun one. I didn't think we were going to do an hour and a half on this.
Yeah, that was long. That ran long.
Once you get started on sports with me, sports and wrestling, once you get on those topics with me, you can't stop. But well, yeah, thanks for being on, guys. Luke, you got anything you want to plug, buddy?
Once I figure out what the fuck's wrong with my internet, I'll get back to doing some Grateful Ducks podcasting again. I thought, I thought this was a good episode for my internet. Things went very smoothly.
Not bad.
I may, on a whim, go to Indianapolis on Saturday to watch the Ducks in the Big Ten championship game. It's not official, but follow the Grateful Ducks Twitter account if that does, in fact, happen. It'd probably be a last-minute solo trip because the last I checked, as of today, it's like $15 or $20 on StubHub for a ticket, and it's like I mean, I don't know if I'll drive back there and back the same day and get home at like 3 a.m, or if I'm going to stop somewhere on the way home and take a nap. Maybe there's a motel with a nap rate somewhere. I mean,
Don't stop it. Don't go to any motels in Indiana, pal.
No, don't.
Yeah, I
no.
know.
Get over the border.
It's
Shout out Tony.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's only like a 3-hour drive or so from my house. So, and hopefully the Ducks pull it off and clinch the number 1 seed in the college football playoff, and we'll go from there.
What happens?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sam's right. If you're having trouble staying awake, you can just talk to Jim Irsay. He's got some medication for you.
Yeah. So, what was your question? Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. So, what happens with the college football playoff if Penn State beats them?
Penn State, because they won the conference championship game, gets a first-round bye in the playoffs and potentially the number 1 seed. Oregon does not get a first-round bye in the playoffs, despite being undefeated in the regular season, and at the best they could get would be the number 5 seed. That is another topic that is a little bit fucked up.
Don't get me started.
The playoffs.
What if it's a close game? What if Penn State wins by 1? Like Penn State
doesn't matter.
They automatically get.
Yep.
Or you got the if you are a conference champion, the 4 best conference champions get a first-round bye. So Boise State could be one of the 4 highest-ranked conference champions and get a first-round bye, even though Oregon beat them earlier in the season, and Oregon would not get a first-round bye. It should be the 4
Rebels.
The 4 best teams in the country should get a first-round bye. The Mountain West champions should not get a first-round bye because they won their conference. It should be the 1 through 4 ranked teams. Well,
and it's their first year doing it, so
it's gonna get fixed.
They'll make changes. They have to.
They cannot make any changes for the first 2 years. So when they expand because it's a 2-year deal right now for this current layout. When they expand, because they will either to 14 or 16 teams coming up.
Yeah.
And, I think you're going to see that change where it's like, well, we fucked that up. We didn't think that could happen. Yeah, it did. The easiest solution
is going to be,
just have Oregon win the Big Ten championship game, and it's not the issue. Like,
we don't have to worry about anything.
No, you don't have to worry about it.
So, it's going to, bottom line, whether it's a good system or a bad system, this is going to be fucking fun.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so different and so awesome.
Yes. College football is
going to be just like college basketball, where every weekend is going to be awesome for a month and a half.
This is college basketball, or college football is at the best it's ever been as a sport. Like the NIL, the transfer portal, the signing day, the playoffs, the new conference layout is better than it's ever been. It's the best the sport has ever been. If you looked at rivalry week last weekend and how intense things got, this is the best it's ever been, and it's only going to continue to get better and get more eyes on the sport year by year by year. It's the greatest sport in the world. I'm fired up.
That's a promo for Grateful Ducks right there.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap up, guys. We'll be back. I'm gonna take next week off, and then we'll be back. We're gonna do a Christmas episode. We're gonna do Christmas. We did Christmas movies the last 2 years. We're gonna do songs this year. So I'm gonna have our homie Roxy on, as well as Celeste is gonna be on, Celeste Spaghetti, and then also Julie Turkey Fonseca. So those 3 will be on with me. That'll be the 18th. So we're doing another Wednesday episode. So I might sprinkle another one in the middle. I have a few that I'm cooking right now. So, but yeah. So we'll see if I can get motivated over the holidays here.
Good luck.
Yep. But thank you so much, Sean. Thank you, Luke. This was wonderful. And thanks everybody in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Sadistic Penguin Studios. Definitely keep an eye out for Tony's hookup on music, and then Tony and Yumper at the show coming at you. I believe they're going to be on this Friday. Yumper, can you confirm that? Well, be on the lookout for them very soon. And then obviously Grateful Ducks will be back around here and there throughout I assume you're going to do a little more content for the playoffs. So
yeah, I mean, hopefully
it's your
if I
internet. Yeah, no, I know.
Well, though, if I got to get back in time on Sunday morning for the playoff reveal show to see if I can do a live stream. I might get home at 3 a.m.
Hey,
and then set
hey,
my
anytime,
alarm for 10 a.m.
anytime you want to trek your ass out to St. Charles, you can use my setup anytime. So
there you go.
all right, guys. That's it.
All
Thanks a lot. Thanks again, Sean, Luke.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.